Bonjour out there in video land. We're getting our radio guys going, and we're going to be all set to go here. Hey.
Un, deux, trois.
Un, deux, trois, un, deux, trois, un, deux, trois. Okay, our radio guys are going. Everything's going good here. My name is Paul Calamere.
Jean-Louis Fillon.
This is Habsolutely coming to you live from the studios of 4680Q Radio in downtown Niagara Falls, Ontario, Canada. The only Habs show south of Napanee. I don't know. There might be some shows up there. I don't know.
Oh, I would. Maybe Belleville.
Maybe Belleville.
Kingston?
Kingston.
Well, that's
I got
probably
a
north.
question about Kingston.
Oh, c'est bon.
C'est bon. C'est bon.
C'est bon.
But first, we thank everybody for tuning in.
Merci beaucoup.
Thank you very much. And we ask you to subscribe. Hit that subscribe button.
Like.
Down here, give us comments. We had lots of comments on the last show. I filtered out there's a bunch of them, but I filtered out the ones that we got to talk about. Thank you very much for comments. And we're ready to go here, but give us a like, subscribe, because that helps the algorithm and it gets the show out to more people so they can share our wacky view of the Montreal Canadiens. Our Montreal Canadiens. It wasn't a good week, everybody. Disappointing week for me, I'll tell you that. We're trying to secure a playoff spot. We managed to lose all 3 games. Did grab the 2 loser points, though, better than nothing. And it kept us in that last wild card spot because the other teams suck worse than we do.
You don't get something for nothing.
No. This is a song about that?
I think so.
And there's going to be some song stuff coming up too. I don't know why people like to hear us talk about music.
Because we do.
Well, you do. I don't know a lot about music.
Oh, please. Don't give me that.
But yeah, like they talk about music and they love to hear your music stories.
Well, music is, I've always found that it's so interesting that you had all these rock bands playing in arenas that we would go to and we would be on the ice playing hockey in.
Yeah.
And it's like that cross-pollination of musicians wanting to be hockey players and hockey players wanting to be musicians.
And the funny thing is before every game and during the game, what's played?
The national anthem.
And what else? Music.
Go Habs, go.
Music, all kinds of music. Music that we love. Music that we hate.
So think about it too, as fans. On a Saturday night, you would go to the arena to see the hockey game, and then maybe on the Wednesday or Thursday night, you'd be there watching, Deep Purple doing Smoke on the Water.
Dun, 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 dun. Absolutely. But you know what? We're hanging on by the skin of our teeth to a wild card spot. Other teams did us some big favors last night with Buffalo, Colorado, Los Angeles, winning against teams that are knocking on our door. So we have the wild card spot all sewn up for now, but we have a tough voting coming in the next 4 days.
We have a bit of a road trip.
Yeah, we are on a road trip, and we got some tough games coming up. But my main concern is goaltending, John. And we keep saying when we sit here, Dobich is going to start, then Sammy's coming in, and but he don't play Dobich, and you cannot ride Montembeault to the Stanley Cup playoffs and then expect him to perform in the Stanley Cup series. So he's got to rest him and play. Do you agree with that, or am I wacky?
No, I totally agree with that. Dobis, number one, needs the ice time. He needs the development time. So it kind of astounds me to some degree that he isn't getting that much time. That much playing time. He really should be getting more games.
I get it. At least one here and there.
Yeah, and then Monty is looks a little tired. Monty, I think, plays better after he's had some rest and gets his concentration together. Last night was a game you wanted. It was a big game against somebody who has about 10 points on us, and that St. Louis team actually looks like they could easily walk away with the Stanley Cup.
They look pretty darn good, don't they? They could be a dark horse bet for anybody who wants to bet anything.
They're very efficient.
They are.
I don't know what their physicality is like, but they played a mean game last night.
They did.
You
They
know?
did.
I mean, they were just taking the puck away from every defense in the first period. Every defenseman for the Habs that came out to the blue line got checked and lost the puck. So they were efficient.
Yeah, see, I would go to say that Dovish should play half of the games left. I I want to rest Sammy. I mean, he's going to be our go-to in the playoffs. Let's face it. He's going to be the guy. So he's got to go in a little bit rested, which means we got to play Dovish. And I think we got 12 games left. He should play 6 of them.
I mean, Dovish has got to play some games, without a doubt.
He's got to.
I mean, and I'm playing Dovish mostly on the road if I'm MSL, and I'm letting Monty get the glory at home. But at the same point, I got to put Monty up against the better teams if we are trying to win those games.
Well, there you go. I mean,
so there's that philosophy as well. It's like, okay, if this is a game that we should win, then let's put our best foot forward and win that game. If this is a game that we don't think we really are in the realm to win, like against a St. Louis team, then we should be playing maybe the other goalie. So it's like you have to define your philosophy as to how you're going to play your goalies, and then though you do have to split up the games. And that's probably my biggest criticism of MSL.
Yeah, right now, tomorrow, like we play Philly. Now that's a game I think Dovish should play. We can beat Philly. Dovish can beat Philly, and let Sammy rest for some bigger games on the weekend. We got a back-to-back coming up, so Sammy should play the back-to-back on Friday.
Again, like I say, though, you got to set your philosophy. So we have 12 games left.
That's it.
Okay, let's say 12 games, and I, let's quickly say that 6 of them we are winnable. That we are games that we should win.
Yeah, I figure 5.
Okay, and let's just for a number and say 6 of them are not. So maybe your philosophy is, well, if those games I should win, then I've got to guarantee that I win them. So I'm going to play my best goalie.
So you think Philly should be
possibly, but
okay,
but at the same point,
that makes sense.
At the same point now, you just ran Monty for like probably 4 games in a row. So
good point.
Because of that, I mean, you pulled him during the third period last night. So does he really need a good day off?
Yes.
Like, does he need like 4 days?
I think Dovish should play tomorrow.
So that's the consideration there. But like I say, the strategy is: do you play your best goalie to win the games that you should win, and know that the games that you may not win, because they're so questionable about the result, then it's like a toss up as to who you put in net for those games.
Yeah, good predicament. We have the Sam. What's his name? MSL. He's got to figure it out.
But you've got to decide what you're going to do and then run with it. But man, you want to make sure that if you play Dobis for those games that you feel are secure games and lose those games, and then you put Monty in against the better teams, and we lose those games too, we could be sitting at the curb in April.
Yeah, well, it's a toss-up. I don't know what they're going to do, but they should play tomorrow. I'm saying Dobis. I don't care about their philosophy in that. They got to give, I think, Monty a little bit of rest. Bring him back against Carolina the next night.
Well, that's a tough game. And again, like last night, I probably would have pulled Monty a little earlier.
Yeah, maybe because he wasn't looking that great.
Monty was like the puck. I mean, it was going in his glove and into the net.
He got lit up for 14 goals over the last 3 games.
Like he wasn't having a strong night last night compared to the other 2.
Yeah.
Okay, let's put it that way.
Yeah, and the guys bailed them out on the one where you're losing 4-1. They came back and tied it up, and we got the loser point. So
what an amazing game that was!
It was
for the Habs.
It was. So I mean, okay, let's get to the favorite part of the show.
The favorite part of the show.
Yeah, when it ends. See you later.
Oh, that's so funny. Eh? What do you think of saying? Eh? What do you think of saying? Absolutely, it must be Habs trivia.
It's got to be Habs trivia. Now, this is a good one because you mentioned Kingston.
Yes, Kingston, Ontario.
Yeah, and that's where we were for a few years. We did.
That's the home
the
of
penitentiary.
Bobby Orr, I think, right?
No, Doug Gilmore, I think. Didn't Don Cherry love
Don Cherry
two
loves
people?
Kingston.
He loved two people, Doug Gilmore and
captain of the Canadians,
Kirk Muller.
Exactly.
Yeah, he loved those guys.
Love Kirk Muller.
Guys. So,
who doesn't?
In a 1991 trade, here's the trivia, with the New Jersey Devils, both teams acquired players that worked out well for their teams. Within the next few years, both of the primary players involved went on to win Stanley Cups with their new team. Who were the two players swapped in this deal? Let's give you 4 choices.
Okay.
Number 1, Vinny Danfus for Shane Corson.
Don't know.
Number 2, Kirk Muller for Stefan Richer. Speak of Kingston.
Kirk Muller for Stefan Richer. So that means that Stefan Richer had to win a Stanley Cup.
Yes.
Okay.
Pierre Turgeon for Kirk Muller.
Okay.
And Shane Corson for Pierre Turgeon.
Wow, these are tricky questions.
This is a good one.
I'm going to say Pierre Turgeon and Kirk Muller.
Pierre Turgeon for Kirk Muller.
Yeah.
Okay. Out there in Videoland, Vinny who don't, you know everything. You seem to get these right a lot. Who did Montreal trade with the New Jersey Devils for in 1991? And both players involved in the trade went on to win Stanley Cups. So it was a good trade for both of them. Now, I'll give you the 4 choices again. Vinny Danfus for Shane Corson, Kirk Muller for Stefan Richer, Pierre Turgeon for Kirk Muller, or Shane Corson for Pierre Turgeon. Dun, 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 dun. Okay. The correct answer is Captain Kirk Muller for Stefan Richer.
There you go.
That was the trade. And in a huge trade, the Habs acquired Kirk Muller and sent Stefan Richer over to the Devils. In 1993, neither Pierre Turgeon or Shane Corson were around to lift the cup with the Canadiens. So they weren't on the team in 1993. They couldn't have been included in the swap. The Devils managed to win the cup in 95 with Stefan Richer hoisting the cup. And, of course, Kirk Muller won it with us in 93.
Yeah, which was amazing.
That was a great year. I remember that just like it was yesterday, man. We watched, me and my buddy Rob Lalonde watched every game, and he made a Stanley Cup. And when they won it, we're sitting there and celebrating in front of the TV.
Did he drink out of it?
No, it was tinfoil. It leaked. It was a leaky cup. But the good thing is we sat in front of the TV. I remember a
leaky cup is better than a leaky faucet.
That's true. Remember when they were all lying on the ice to take the picture?
Yes.
Well, we were lying in front of the TV and took the picture with them lying in front of the thing with our Habs jersey.
Wow.
And it was like a big thing for that win. We really didn't expect it any Habs for sure. I don't think they did. And we went to beat LA 4-1 in the final game. And
that was the year we were supposed to play Toronto in the finals.
Yeah, and Toronto got screwed by Gretzky.
The game was fixed.
The rig was in.
Bettman
rigged it. It was a rig.
Yeah, it would have been more fun beating Toronto, I think.
Yeah. Well, you know what? No. Of course, Kirk Muller became a favorite of Habs fans, even though his stay was short, only 4 seasons long. I thought he was there for a lot more than that.
Did Muller, where did he go after the Habs?
He went, we'll talk about that. Man, I could have sworn he was with the Habs forever. His accomplishments for the Habs were many. 104 goals, 143 assists, 247 points in 4 years, and a Stanley Cup to boot. The only Stanley Cup in his career, by the way, was with the Montreal Canadiens, Captain Kirk. He also coached with the Habs from 2006 through 2007, that season through 2010, 2011. And he came back as an associate coach of the team in 2016-17 for another 5-year run. Now, this is another trivia thing you might not know.
Okay.
He started his NHL career after being drafted 2nd overall behind...
Don't know.
In the 1984 NHL entry draft. Who was number one in 1984 entry draft?
Haven't got a clue.
Kirk Muller should have been number one, but there was one guy who was so dynamic that he went as number one.
Beats me.
Mario Lemieux.
Oh, well. How could Kirk Muller be number one?
Exactly.
Mario.
But he was still number two. Can you imagine that?
Can you imagine if Mario Lemieux had played for the Montreal Canadiens?
Oh, my goodness.
Oh.
We got Kirk number two. Imagine if we got somebody else took Kirk and we got Mario Lemieux.
That would have been the best.
Makes me wonder what would have happened. Changed the Habs history from
that would have been the best.
So he played for the Devils for 7 years before the trade to the Habs. In a 22-year career in the NHL, he played a long time. This guy, he played for the Devils, Habs, Islanders, Leafs, Panthers, and Stars, hammering out 1,349 games, scoring 352 goals, adding 602 helpers for a total of 959 points. Too bad he didn't get 1,000.
What a great gentleman, too.
Oh, what a great guy. I always remember him as a tough-nosed center that wouldn't back down from anyone. He was responsible, playing 200 feet and giving it all every game, giving it his all.
That's a good description.
His biggest claim to fame, other than being drafted second behind Mario Lemieux, was this. What other thing did he do?
I think winning the Stanley Cup for the Montreal Canadiens should be a bigger claim to fame.
Even better than that.
Even better than that. I don't know how it can get better than that.
He scored the winning goal in the Stanley Cup winning game.
Whoa!
He scored the second goal, and Montreal won 4-1. He got the game winner.
Beautiful.
And I'm going to tell you a story about the game winner. Now, you asked me a question about... What did you ask me a question about?
Kirk Muller.
You just asked me a question about something. I didn't answer it.
Anyway.
I was going to get back to it, but I didn't answer it.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, here's the story behind the infamous puck that Kirk Muller scored that goal with. And this is wild. So he scores the goal.
Was it deflated?
No, but what happened was he scored the goal. And back in those days, there was no mesh around the top.
Right.
So the puck went into the crowd.
And somebody threw it out.
No, even better. So it went into the crowd. And, of course, at that point in time when he scored the second goal, he didn't know it would be the game-winning goal.
Right.
So he never collected the puck.
Janet Gretzky got it.
A guy in the crowd who happened to be a friend of his was at the game and caught the puck. So after the game, he gave it to Kirk.
How remarkable was
that? Out of 19,000 people there, a guy that he knew from Kingston was at the game and caught the puck.
Don Cherry.
Yeah, it could be. Cherry Pro, he would have loved to have that.
Who is the other coach of the Bruins? He was from Kingston.
Which one?
Oh, Harry Sinden.
Harry Sinden.
Harry Sinden, I'm pretty sure, was from Kingston. And I think he was like the godfather to Gord Downie.
Oh, yeah?
I think so. There's a connection.
That's pretty cool.
There's a connection there.
But can you imagine? The puck goes in the thing. He would have never saw it again if anybody else got it. 19,000 people. This one guy got it.
The people in LA, they don't want a puck from the Montreal Canadian guy who wins the Stanley Cup against them.
Yeah, really.
They don't want that.
So, unbelievable. He said, I kept the stick, I kept the gloves, I kept everything I could keep for memorabilia from that game. Because after the game, he knew he scored the winning goal to win the Stanley Cup.
And he probably knew that was going to be it for Stanley Cups.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. And then all of a sudden he got this puck from his buddy saying, this is the puck you scored the winning goal with. It's yours.
That's beautiful.
Crazy story. So that's Captain Kirk. We loved him. He played with the Habs. He went to Toronto Maple Leafs after that, I believe. And then he went to a couple other teams. And then he ended his career with Dallas. And, of course, he came back to be an assistant coach and then associate coach. So,
well, he obviously loved being in Montreal.
He loved the whole scene.
How could you not? So you play with like 7 or 8 teams, and then at the end of your career, you go, I got to come back. I got to be in Montreal.
Is there any other place you'd rather win a Stanley Cup?
Is there any other place you'd rather play hockey?
No.
When
you win a Stanley Cup in Montreal, that's the top of the heap right there.
Even Superman. Even Superman wants to be
I'll be your Superman. Look at that. He's a Habs. He's a Habs.
So in the Montreal Gazette, there's a cartoonist who's been there for years named Ashland, and he's a big sports fan. I think he grew up in Toronto. He moved to Montreal. He decided, what city do I want to live in? Montreal, of course.
Habsland.
And so he actually had this published in the Montreal Gazette the other night after we beat Ottawa, Habs 6, Sens 3.
Yeah.
And tell me where else in the NHL is the cartoonist who does the political beat for the respective newspaper of the city following the hockey team? Nowhere else.
Nowhere else.
Nowhere else.
Nowhere
That's
else.
the impact that the Habs have on La Ville de Montréal.
Yeah, maybe in, what's that planet called? Krypton?
Krypton.
Yeah, Krypton. They do that, maybe.
Possibly in Krypton. Alternate universe.
Anyway, there's some trivia for you. I hope you got the answer right. Thank you very much for participating. And I hope there was some other trivia there that turned your crank while we were at it. Some video comments.
Yes.
At Claude LeMay, 3912. Good day, Paul and John. Great game last night. Go Habs, go. And yeah, it was a great game last night.
Last night? Last night was not
this
a great
was put
game.
on after...
that was the Senators.
That was probably the Sens game.
That was the Sens game.
Dan Sudo. Oh my God, a Bunny LaRock Sherwood goal stick. You guys are the best. Killed two birds with one stone toward video comments portion of the show. I love it. So there you go, Vinny.
We try not to kill birds.
Yeah. And we try not to kill birds, and we try to bring you interesting paraphernalia from years of bygone years gone by. So if you thought that was great, I thought it was great when John walked in with it myself. Believe me, because that stick brings back a lot of memories. We played a lot of hockey when we were kids together. At Claude LeMay 3912, what I like most is the unity, how close they are from one another. Yes, and that is about culture. So we always talk about culture and the culture of the team, and Claude LeMay said that is what he likes the most, the unity of the team all working together towards a common goal. And I love it myself.
It's the collectivism, for sure.
Yeah, you see these guys, they're cheering each other on when the guy scores, and they're so happy when somebody who really, like a guy like Anderson, comes back with 2 goals he hasn't scored in a while. I mean, they're as happy for him as if they got the goals. That's the way they are.
And the team is excited about the future, you know?
Yes, they are.
They have something to look forward to. They have goals, and they're trying to accomplish them. I mean, so it doesn't get better than that for anyone.
Nope.
We should all be out there trying to be our best selves each and every day.
And at Claude LeMay, haha, good on you, John. Nice stick and bringing good memories of Michelle LaRock. So there you go. That was he enjoyed that stick coming out too. At Vince Udo, I love Rush too, but my question from a few posts back was, have you guys ever seen Led Zeppelin live? I haven't.
Yes, you have.
Have I? I don't remember seeing
I think we're going to have to take you, Doctor, give me the news.
Were we doing stuff before the concert?
Buffalo Memorial Auditorium.
Did you see Zeppelin?
Yes.
Okay, well, probably
we saw Tull.
Yeah, I saw Jethro Tull.
And Zeppelin, both at the prime time, 71, 72-ish.
Oh, it was fantastic,
at the Buffalo Odd.
It was fantastic. I don't remember it.
It was great to be able to go to those shows, because back then as well, a lot of them were triple bills. Now, I can't remember who was on the bill with Zeppelin, but I remember going to see like Deep Purple, and thered be like Tucky Buzzard and some other band.
Yeah, Alvin Lee, 10 years after.
Yeah, I remember going to see Humble Pie, and it was Savoy Brown and Spooky too.
I was there.
We were there.
I was there.
We were there together for sure.
I saw James Gang.
We saw Pink Floyd. We saw Alice Cooper there. We saw a ton of people, and they would do triple bill shows back then in the day, which is great.
And that's when you could afford tickets.
I mean, think about Mumford and Sons, for instance, played Massey Hall in Toronto on Sunday night. The show started at 9:00. It was just the band. Now the band gave a great show, but you only saw one band. We used to go see 3 for the price of one.
Oh yeah, there'd be 3 great bands playing. Humble Pie, but that was a good one. I remember Humble Pie. That was fantastic.
Yeah, Steve Marriott, one of the all-time best rock and roll singers.
Yeah.
And it was easy to go like we only had to drive 20 minutes to the bridge and go stateside.
Yeah. The tickets were like $5.
Yeah, and
They weren't expensive.
it was fabulous.
And I saw James Gang, I think, with Gentle Giant and somebody else on that ticket too. I saw once. And Alvin Lee 10 years after, Uriah Heep.
Yeah, and then we'd have to go back and some of these bands had like Peter Frampton might have still been in the pie when we saw them at that time.
I think he was.
Guys like James Gang. I don't know if it was Tommy Bolin playing guitar, Joe Walsh, but we saw some pretty amazing players.
I remember seeing Rod Stewart with Small Faces.
There you go.
Yeah, I remember that one for sure. I saw that. And I lose track of them because we saw so many bands. We used to go to every big concert, but in those days, these guys weren't like they are icons like they are today. They were just
not only were tickets reasonably priced, but the shows weren't sold out.
No, they weren't.
And nobody was buying tickets and then reselling them. There was none of that nonsense.
Were you with us? We went to Rochester to see Bowie. I think you were there.
Yes,
that was one of the best concerts I've ever seen.
That was one of the best shows ever, without a doubt. Bowie had played in Toronto at the O'Keefe Center, and we went and saw him the next night in Rochester.
And when he came out in that big chair, that arm to do Space Oddity,
it was the Diamond Dogs tour.
It was Diamond Dogs tour.
And what was incredible was he had a standing ovation for 8 minutes. And then finally they came out and did the Elvis, Bowie has left the building.
Yeah. It was just one of the best concerts I've ever been to. And I like Deep Purple too. I went and saw Deep Purple. They were really good. They were really good back in the day. I mean, that was
King.
So many good.
I mean, yeah, what a singer.
So many good concerts we were at back in the day. We could do a whole show, maybe 2 hours on concerts we've been to because
absolutely.
The adventures at some of these concerts, we met a lot of crazy people.
For sure.
Especially when Alice Cooper was around. At Claude LeMay, Lane Hudson will win the Calder. The first since Dryden in 1972. And that is correct.
Lane Hudson. So I read a story the other night about Lane Hudson. And it sounds, from what I understand, is every time there is an optional skate, he's there. Every time.
He won't get off the ice.
And people said, so, what's the deal? Why? Goes, well, I don't have any hobbies, so I need to fill my day up, so I go to the skate.
Well, that's when they gave him a day off, and he said, I had nothing to do. It was a boring day. I had nothing to do.
So he goes to the skate. So they asked MSL about it, and he said, well, I'm kind of like him as well, we're kind of like, hockey wacky, and if he wants to, I'm going to let him do what he wants to do. If he wants to go to the skate, I'm not worried about it. I mean, think about it. Lane is 20 years old. He's in Montreal. He probably doesn't know a lot of people, period.
No.
But his whole focus on is trying to be the best hockey player he can be so that he can accomplish winning hockey games with the Montreal Canadiens.
I know. He's so amazing.
We go back to Malcolm Gladwell, how he used to talk about people doing 10,000 hours to be the best. And that's why Lane Hudson is so good, is because he devotes his time to those 10,000 hours. That whole concept of totally focusing on his craft.
I wonder what he does in the summer.
When you watch Lane play hockey, you just marvel at how he carries that puck around. We'll call it the perimeter. Down the wall, up and back, and he keeps his body between the opposition and the puck, so he protects it. He cradles it, and now you know why he does it so well is because he's on the ice with that puck constantly.
Yeah. And 10,000 hours.
I think about that. I mean, nowadays, we're seeing snowflakes here in Niagara Falls right now, but I don't know. How long do you think you could have had an ice rink in Niagara Falls this year?
A month?
At the most, I think.
Maybe a month, February.
We got
that
would have been it, And so back in the day, there was this guy who wore number 10 for the Montreal Canadiens. And when he was a young guy, he would just sneak through the farm boards. He would just, go in, and there'd be an open pond of frozen water, and he would skate on the ice.
That's called ice.
And so exactly the glass. And so many Montreal Canadiens, French Canadians, grew up that way. I mean,
True enough.
In every there are so many pictures of art of children playing on a pond, a spot of ice in somebody's backyard, and being able to, because of the weather, the conditions, and developing their hockey craft. And in almost every one of those, you'll see some young child playing with his Montreal Canadiens sweater on.
Always.
Say twos. And so you think about Guy and how Guy went out in every minute of every day when he could escape the farm chores. He would have his skates on, and he'd be out skating and practicing his skill. And now we have Lane Hudson really basically doing the same thing. Every opportunity that is available for him to be on the ice, he does. And that's why Lane Hudson totally deserves to win the Calder, and he's going to become one of the best defensemen ever in the National Hockey League.
Yeah, he's unbelievable. I mean, if he doesn't win the Calder, I mean, you got Wolf, who's playing fantastic in goal, and you got Celebrini and these other guys. But, here's a guy, a defenseman doing this. That's the difference. Defensemen don't usually get the chance to star like this. There's very few we've seen that get the chance in their rookie year, because usually it takes a long time to develop a really good defenseman. This guy's doing it at, what is he, 19, 20 years old?
Here's what's so important now in the NHL. And it's been important for a while. But, I mean, when we used to watch hockey games, we used to see goals scored by, somebody slapping the puck, like a Boom Boom Geoffrion. Or we'd see some amazing, we used to call them a picture goal, where a player would be on, one side, and he'd throw it to a player on the other side, so the goalie would have to turn and try to get across his crease, and the puck would be in the net. And we'd say, oh, that's a picture goal, because, that down at the ice, right along the red line, you'd find people like, who's Marty Brodeur's father, with his camera taking pictures, and the classic picture goal. Nowadays, it's so important to put the puck on the net, because I think last night almost every goal was a deflection. Deflections, because a goalie now is a little bigger, pads are a little bigger, play a little bit of a different game, more like a lacrosse goaltender, cover a little bit more net. So now you have to get the goalie to get up and move, or you have to deflect the puck so that the goalie who's tracking that puck can't stop it. And so you need a defenseman to be able to put the puck towards the net on the right side of the player who's standing in front of the net, screening, so that he has the opportunity to make that connection and that deflection.
True enough.
Okay?
That's how a lot of goals are scored.
And that's what I think we're going to see out of Hudson. He's developing his shooting skill in that respect as well.
Yeah, good observation, because that's good. He's got 49 assists.
Absolutely. And that's why he deserves to be a Calder Trophy winner.
Last comment at Claude Lemay. What is unidimensional? Beck is more versatile. And we were talking last week about, like Beck not being up, and they brought Wap, and he really hasn't done anything. Well, as soon as we said that, he gets 2 goals.
Ding, ding.
So I gotta say, well, Beck never had 2 goals.
Well,
so yeah, Claude Lemay, I agree with you, but I mean, he scored 2 goals.
I got to believe that Joshua Watt is a fan of HABSOLUTELY.
I think so.
And he heard what we said.
And he said,
I'm going to show those guys.
I'm going to go and show those guys.
Yeah.
So there you go. There are the comments. Over to games. Thank you, everybody, for the comments, by the way. We tried to get all of them on. There was more than that. There was like 16 comments or something. And these are the guys who put most of them in. So I tried to get a hold of the ones that like really pertain. There was a lot of other stuff. Great job, guys, and stuff. But we know that. I mean,
you know, I always there's so many Habs fans out there.
Yeah.
That right away go, oh, they're down 2 goals. I can't watch anymore. You know, I have friends, you know, who will text me that kind of crap.
Oh, I watched the whole game.
There are other people who like, well, what's wrong with the Habs? You know, it's like patience. I always say patience. And so I have to read this because it's so good. The other day, they were interviewing MSL.
Okay.
And they were talking to him about the team. So this one reporter asked St. Louis after the practice, what has been the key to his coaching success? And MSL spoke, quote unquote, I think when I took the job, I talked about having aggressive patience. And I feel like that's been the key, is I know that I have to be patient, but it's what you do with that time. So I feel I've been very aggressive and demanding in asking our players to really have details in all parts of the game. It starts with me. I have to teach the details. I have to show examples. I have to be direct. You have to teach and you have to convince why are we playing in a certain way. So I feel I've been very aggressive with that, knowing that it's going to take time. So aggressive patience, I think, has been the key.
There you go.
And
he has been patient with players.
I totally agree, you know, that's why we've seen the change in the team and the team developing and now making this run, basically. And most likely, I believe, are going to make the playoff.
Yeah, and I personally have been aggressively patient with Marty St. Louis.
And that is and that's exactly what we need, is aggressive patience. We need to let these players still develop.
Yeah,
and so Joshua Waugh, he was up last year. He showed a lot of promise last year at times.
He did.
You know, the team has actually changed quite a bit since then. We brought him up early in the year, and he wasn't responding, so we sent him back down, and we let him to continue to develop his game and his confidence in the American Hockey League. And now we brought him back up. And it took him 2 or 3 games, but the last 2 games prior, the Colorado game and the Islander game, he was outstanding.
Yeah.
Not just in production, but in his play behind the net, in getting out in front of the goaltender and being extremely aggressive, like driving to the net. And it pays off for Patrick, and it also pays off for Alex Newhook. You know, I mean, Newhook had a puck off the crossbar the other night that could have been a winning goal, I think.
Oh, my God. Newhook gets in on the net more times than anybody I've seen, even more than Anderson, and he can't put the puck in the net. He's another one. If this guy could ever put the puck in the net, he'd have 50 goals the way he's on net all the time.
So I think it says a lot about, you know, how we have to be a bit reserved sometimes as we have to let things develop and enjoy them and watch it.
AP.
It's coming aggressively patient. It's like radical optimism. Can't remember who said that.
Cautious optimism?
But no, radical optimism, Dua Lipa. But Drew Deeks. But I love this new one, aggressive patience.
Aggressive patience. I was going to be a doctor, but I didn't have the patience.
I heard that.
Let's get to the games. Islanders, no excuses here. Habs didn't play a great game against a team that was totally beatable, and I consider this a must-win game with the Islanders breathing down their neck for that final playoff spot.
But not only not a must-win game, but a game we should win.
Yes.
So this is a game we should have walked away with 2 points rather than 1.
Yeah, we were down 3-1 with the lone goal by Waugh.
But but it's great, the fact that we did come back. Something that we wouldn't have seen possibly last season.
Yep. A goal from Lane, a power play goal, we battled back. And Gallagher scoring a beauty, his 17th.
Suzuki got robbed of a goal.
Yes, he did.
And Gallagher, after his mother had passed away.
Yeah.
Decided to play.
Sorry to hear about your mother.
Kudos to Brendan Gallagher. And I'm sure he did it for her because I'm sure she encouraged him to continue having the season he's having. And he scored.
Unassisted.
That, to me, was one of the most beautiful moments of the season.
And it sent the game into overtime. So that was beautiful. And it was nice that he went like this after, and his mother and everything else. And yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, good for him. Good for him. And, you heard that story about his mother, that jersey that he had for the pink jersey there.
Yes.
With mom written on it. The lady who got that jersey gave it back to him. And
I hear they're going to do a trade.
They are on center ice on Friday, I think. Is Montreal at home on Friday?
They're playing on Friday. I don't know if they're home or not.
Let's find out. I got it right here. Philly, Carolina, Florida. No, they're going to be home against Florida the last game on Tuesday. So Tuesday they'll probably do the Schwapperoonie.
They are doing a swap, though. It'll be
that's going to be touching.
Pretty cool.
That's going to be touching. And that's how Habs do things.
Classy.
We couldn't get the extra point in OT. Critical points needed to hold on to the last wildcard spot. Sammy turned in an 840. Not good enough. And we said that last week. We didn't think MSL should play Sammy this game. This is a Dobish game, we said.
Yes.
We agreed with that.
I think that's what we had said.
Yes, we did. And I think Dobish was the smart start in that game. And that, as soon as they played Sammy, what were they going to do with Colorado? Play Dobish? So now Sammy had to start another one. If he would have played Dobish, then he would have had a choice against. I think Sammy would have been rested, and we may have won that game in Colorado.
I think we were looking at Dobish playing what we would call the weaker game, and then Sammy playing the two strong games against Colorado
and being rested
in St. Louis,
and being rested 3 days
and having some rest.
That's right.
After beating Ottawa.
So anyway, could have gone our way. It didn't. And once again, Dobish should have started. I mean, he's going to wear this guy out. He's got to give him a little bit of rest. So I hope we see Dobish start tomorrow. I really, really do. Just for all the reasons you said, as well as we should be able to beat Philly with or without Sammy in net. Over to the Avalanche. Lost 5-4 in the shootout. Well, that game was wild. I'm going to tell you, 4-1 against the Avs. You figure it's over, but no. They battled back. Avs opened up a 2-0 lead in the first, expanded to a 4-1 by the third, with the only Habs being deposited by Slav, number 15. The Habs machine started to roll around the 10-minute mark, 11-minute mark of the third period, and in a span of 4 minutes, Wag is second of the night. Slav, number 16, not Wag, his second of the night. Wag, goal number 2, because he scored
second
the other
goal.
one.
Yeah, Slav had 2.
Slav had 2. He's got 16. That was the 16th. The second one, Dvorak had 9, and he lit up Blackwood. Even scored 4. The OT went well with Sammy playing extremely well in OT, giving the Habs a chance to win this one, but it wasn't to be as the Habs won in overtime. I think there was 6 seconds left or something. Was that the crazy game?
Yes.
Yeah. Can't be sad. Habs literally stole a point in this one. I mean, at 4-1 going into the third with 10 minutes left, you go, boy, it would be nice to get a point, and they did. So Gavs are a good team. They're not some bum team. So for us to even come back and get a point, I was very happy with that, and very, very important because it kept us in a wild card spot. Any other comments?
So the shootout was that game as well.
Yeah,
right? That was
they had the shootout.
And the only thing I would have done maybe a little differently in the shootout was, I don't know why Slafkovsky didn't get a shot.
Yeah, he had 2 goals that night, right?
I would have played the hot guy.
You usually do.
I love CC. I love Susie. But, and then, of course, they chose Patrick. Now, Patrick actually has an amazing shootout percentage. So he definitely should be always one of the top 3 shooters in the shootout. No questions asked because of his career, okay? Because of his career record.
Yep.
But the hot guy that night?
Slav.
I would have had him.
Wrote him.
Yeah.
And it's funny. We sit here and I'm going, okay. We actually have 5 or 6 guys we could put in there to do it. I mean, we haven't had that in a long time where we get this guy.
Yeah. Who's gonna?
Yeah.
Exactly.
What a problem. But you know what? Avalanche got a good team. I didn't expect to win that game. I was hoping to tie and get a point, and we did. So there you go. Now the Blues. Oh, that game, we talked a little bit about that. I mean, did they even have to shower after they cruised to a 6-1 victory? They break a sweat?
They broke us in the first period.
Yeah, brutal effort by the Habs were set up to put some distance between them and 3 teams that lost last night, but they weren't even close to being up to the task. First period left them down 2-1 on 14 Blue shots when Habs can only muster 5 shots. And that goal with 6 seconds left, that's a killer goal. It always is the killer goal. We come back and tie it after the first goal. 6 seconds to get into the game. Second period tied. And they give up that late goal. That's a killer.
It's a tough goal. First of all, I think that was the worst game that Monty played of the 3.
Yeah, he had an 844.
He just the way he was playing the puck, fighting the puck, like being in his glove, coming out of his glove into the net, things like that. Pucks going off his sweater basically into the net. It just was not his game.
No.
In the first period, I was so impressed by the way St. Louis forwards were taking the puck away from the Habs defenseman. The first forechecking was excellent at the blue line. Just excellent. It shows us that we still, again, have to have some, aggressive patience with developing our defense. That a few people have been talking about, we need to trade for a second or a top 6 forward. I think, and they've been saying, maybe we've got a lot of assets that we could use, like Reinbacher or who's the Mayu. And I'm saying no, don't. It's too early to even think about that. We've got a guy who plays defense for us, who is a great guy who loves the Montreal Canadiens, but he's slowing down. And I think his plus minus is probably not so good right now. And we're going to have to replace a couple of Ds probably in the next 2 seasons.
Well, we do have Gooley coming back. He's skating now, so.
But again, let's see. Struble had a
Struble. I like him.
Struble, I like too, but he had a bad moment behind the net, letting the puck go. It was a tough game for us.
It was,
and the St. Louis Blues played a real good game.
They did. So kudos to them. 6-1. I wish it turned out different, because when I looked at the scores and I saw everybody losing, I mean, they're all losing. Everybody was losing.
Ottawa won, though, I think, right?
I think they lost.
Did they really?
They lost, yeah.
Oh, okay, good.
We're still only 4 points behind. So stats, that gets us into stats. 33-26-9, sitting alone in the final wildcard spot, 1 point up in the Islanders and Rangers. And we have 2 games in hand on the Rangers. We're still knocking on Ottawa's door for that first wildcard spot, only 4 points behind them, so we never lost or gained on them. We still have some big divisional and conference games coming up, including Ottawa again, Bruins and Detroit, and Florida 2 more times. So we have our work cut out for us.
We play the Leafs, too.
And we play the Leafs in there, too, without a doubt. 90 points seems to remain the cutoff point for the playoffs, which means the Habs need 7.5 wins in the next 12 games. Now, I can count 5 games they should win, so we got to come up with 2.5 more. And when we look at who we're playing, Philly, we should win. Carolina, tough. Florida, tough. Bruins, we should win. They're terrible right now. Flyers, we should win. Nashville, that's a tough one. Detroit, it's a must-win. We should beat them. Sens, a must-win. We have beat them during the year. Leafs, always a tough game. Chicago, we should win. And Canes are a toss-up. So out of those, I think 5 are guaranteed wins. I mean, we should win them. They're the games, like you said, we should win. and we got to come up with 2.5 more. So
it's a little tougher than we may think.
yeah, it's a little tougher than we may think, but there are games there that we can win. I don't know about Nashville. Can we beat Nashville? How are they doing? I never looked up how they're doing. They might be a team we can beat. Detroit, we should beat. Leafs, you never know. We could even beat the Leafs. They're on and off too, and we beat them before this year.
Absolutely.
Chicago, we should beat. They're nothing. And Carolina, we played twice, so maybe we can win one of those. In Florida, we played twice. Maybe we can win one of those.
Well,
so you never know.
It's a lot of games too, right? It's like
yeah, we got 4 games this week.
4 games and 4 games next week.
Yeah. Yeah, they're jamming in the games because of the stupid 4 Nation thing or whatever it was called. So they're there. We have them. That's what we need. 7.5 just about guarantees us. So, grab a couple wins here, a couple wins there, and we get to 90 points. We're probably going to be in, John. And this week I see the Philly game. I think we can win that. What do you think?
So the Philly game is a game it's a game that we should win.
Okay. I'm going to mark a win down. Carolina, what do you think?
So
Tough.
Carolina is a game that it's not a we should win game. It will be a tough game for sure.
It'll be a tough game
because we'll be on the road.
Yeah. Florida.
I mean, Florida. You play Florida less than 48 hours.
Yeah.
Because you're playing at 1:00, like rather than at 7.
Yep, that's on Sunday.
And that's on Sunday. And in Florida, it's just like playing Carolina.
Yeah, we play them in Florida, and then we come back home and play them at home.
We're on the road, right?
I think so. We'll win one of those two.
It'd be nice to split.
It'd be nice to split one.
If we could split, that would be excellent.
Yeah, that's what I got. A loss and a win. So I figure we're going to split that.
So we're looking at really 4 points out of 8.
We should be getting 4 points out of 8 with a possible win against Carolina.
Yeah, that's a very iffy win.
That's an iffy win.
You know what?
Tough.
Here's what I'm going to say. I'd be real pleased with 5 points out of 8.
That'd be awesome.
Okay?
Yep, if we can do that, that's 2.5 wins.
We can get a tie and 2 wins. That'd be great.
Well, there's your 2.5 wins. Now we just got to find 5 more wins out of the rest. So
let's go through the rest real quick then.
Okay, Bruins. We should win that.
Boston is a we should win game.
Flyers again.
Another we should win game. So there's 4 points.
Nashville's the question mark here. I don't know how good or bad they are.
And we're on the road. Nashville, we should win.
I think we can
Nashville have a worse record than Philly.
Yeah, they're not very good, Nashville.
So those 3 games,
if we give that a win,
we should win.
Okay, now Detroit, we should win.
No, well, Detroit is going to be fighting us as hard as we're fighting them, or should be.
So we're at home.
So, but we're at home.
We should
win. The advantage is to us.
Then we play the Sens again.
So of those games, that's 8 points.
Yeah, I've got 6.5 now. We got to get one more game out of here.
I mean, I'd love to get 7 points out of those 8.
Yeah, in Chicago, we're going to beat them.
Chicago, we're going to beat at the end of the season.
So that leaves us with Sens, Leafs, and Canes.
Well, we know we can beat the Sens because we beat them all the time.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there you go. Okay. So if that's another win, then we're there.
That's who we really have to beat. Is Ottawa.
Well, we're there for sure.
We have to take that game from Ottawa.
That'd be a great game to win. That'd be a big game to win.
That's a big game to win.
And that last game against the Canes, you never know.
And you know what, too? That's on a Friday night in Ottawa.
Oh, okay.
So that's why. So you play a Tuesday, you have Wednesday, Thursday off, and then you play a Friday. So you've got time to rest. You've got to give everything against that Ottawa team. You come to Toronto and you play for, because you bleed red, white, and blue.
That's right. You want to beat Toronto.
You play on Saturday, but win the Ottawa game.
And the final game
don't expire in the Ottawa game with no points and then have to try to beat the Leafs.
Yeah, well, you know what? The final game is against the Canes, and if they're already set in their position, they can go nowhere. These final few games, some teams are going to be resting players because they're going into the playoffs, so that might give Montreal a break too at the end of the schedule. So there's a lot of dynamics that come into play, but these 4 games are going to be if we can get 2 of them, get 4 points out of the 8, 5 points out of the 8.
If we got 5 points, that
awesome.
would be remarkable.
Okay, le trois étoiles as we wind down the show for another Habsolutely.
Well, again, I was so impressed by Christian Dvorak. I mean, he's playing maybe better than I've ever seen him play for the red, white, and blue.
He's winning a lot of faceoffs.
He's doing a lot. He's doing some yeoman work for L'Équipe de Canadien. So I'm truly impressed by his display.
He's number 3?
Yes. I would say number 2 would be Joshua Waugh. You know,
number 2 is Wawa.
He stepped up. He's performing well. He's that whole line that he helps that second line kick in. I mean, you know, Patrick had a goal in, I think, the Colorado game.
He had a power play goal.
He had a power play goal in one game, and then he also had a shootout goal in another. He definitely had a shootout goal in the Colorado game.
In the shootout.
He might have had the power play goal in the Islander game.
I can tell you in a second here because I've got it written down.
Yeah. So I think a lot of that, and Newhook has been on fire in that sense. I think a lot of it has to do with Joshua Waugh clicking with the two of them.
Yeah, the Islanders, he got the power play goal line game.
Yeah.
Look at it out here. It's a blizzard.
The Neige c'est beau. Yeah. And the premier étoile is Slavkovsky. He continues to impress me. He continues to contribute and make CC and Suzuki's life much easier.
Yeah, well, I mean, his ceiling is so high, and we're gonna see more and more of this guy as we move along, and it's gonna be phenomenal what he does, that kid. Seriously, folks, he's good. I had 3. The third star was Waugh. The kid scored 2 goals, although I was touting Beck as the better choice. It appears he has settled in and is contributing. You got to give him credit for that.
Absolutely.
Number 2 pick, I said C number 1, and number 1 pick is who can I pick? It was a terrible outing last week, so I wasn't impressed with Montreal this week at all. 4-1 down, they came back, but why are we down 4-1 in the beginning? That's what gets me.
I know, I totally agree. But the first 2 games, they played really well in that respect. It's great to see a team who doesn't succeed but continues to try again and be successful.
I'll give them credit for heart. They never give up. They're always out there to try to win the game.
Le cœur.
Yeah, they're always against it. And when they're against it, they seem to somehow fire up and get things done. But at the end of the day, we shouldn't be down to 4-1. We shouldn't be down 6-1, and we shouldn't be going into overtime and especially against the Islanders. That was a disappointing game. That's a game we could have won and we should have won.
Yeah, it's difficile to play from behind.
Yeah, so I mean, we gotta straighten that out. But overall, I mean, here's the way I look at the season. Right, when I got into October last year, I said, "Here's what I want from the Habs this year. I want them to be competing. That's what I want. I want them to be competing, and I want them to be competing for a playoff spot. I don't know if they're going to get it or not, but I want them to at least have a chance at it. That's what their goal should be. We don't want to be regressing. We want to be progressing. And even Hughes said that. We do not want to end up 28th this year, 28th or 30th or anything. We want to progress. And they've done it. They've managed to do it. So
the opportunity is there.
Yep. And it's going the way that I really wanted it to. So if we don't make the playoffs, I'm not going to be sad or disappointed. I didn't know if they would anyway. I'm happy they're just there and they're showing those flashes of brilliance and persistence and culture that we all want, because we know that in the next few years we're going to win a cup and we're going to have a dynasty going on with these players. Like, wait till Demidov comes up and Reinbacher gets on the ice. They're all doing good. Laval's tearing it up. And we've got players that still have to come up. So I just want to be there. And that's where we are. So, okay, last week we didn't have a good week. Big deal. We got another week coming up and another week coming up.
We have 3 weeks.
And then we have first round of the playoffs.
Les 3 semaines.
I'm in the first round of the playoffs. I'm already there.
Who do you think we will play in the first round?
Probably Toronto.
C'est magnifique.
I want
When
to
was the last time we played Toronto in the playoffs?
3 years ago, we beat them first round.
Oh, yeah. That's right. That's right.
And I'm going to tell you even something worse. They were up on the series 3-1.
Oh, yeah. That's right. I forgot.
Yeah, they're up 3-1 on us.
I forgot. Well, now I remember there was a goal. It was Suzuki and CC going back and forth down the ice.
Well, we had our secret weapon out
with
there.
the puck.
Galchenyuk. We had our secret weapon on the ice, Galchenyuk.
Oh, that's not nice. Poor guy.
Well, I'm sorry, but he gave up that beautiful Suzuki Caulfield combo that won the game, right? So
you got the
in overtime.
You got the third assist.
So I mean, we got to be happy as Habs fans. Where we want to be right now this year, and things are just going to get better as we move on. If I can make the playoffs, I'm happy because I don't care about if we win. We're not going to win the Stanley Cup. I don't think we're that good. But when we get in the playoffs, it's going to give the guys experience playing in a playoff format. Well, it's tough.
You know what? When you get in the playoffs, anything can happen.
Anything can happen. We prove that.
If you're not in the playoffs,
nothing will happen.
You can't happen.
No, golfing will happen.
Most likely. but I mean, is this a sign? Snowing?
I hope not.
Is that like a sign that everything is good with like Montreal? Like, like it's winter, we're still playing hockey. It's what we used to dream about as kids. We would be like, I hope it snows tomorrow so that it's a little slick, on the pavement when we play road hockey.
Yeah, that's what we used to do. Yeah, like today we'd be watching out the window and going, "Come on, accumulate."
Absolutely.
No, I'm going, "Come on, get the hell out of here." On that note, we're getting out of here. We'll be back next week, though.
Like us.
Subscribe. Costs nothing. It's free to subscribe.
Leave your comments.
We
love your comments.
Thumbs up, thumbs down. Whatever. Look at my phone's ringing. Haha, too bad. I'm doing a video. Can't answer right now. Anyway, we're out of here. My name is Paul Calamere.
Jean-Louis Filion.
And this is Habsolutely coming to you live every Wednesday at noon on 4680q.com radio, internet radio. And the videos usually posted around 3 o'clock in the afternoon for those of you who can't listen live and would like to watch the video.
You'd rather see our pretty faces.
Have a great day, everybody. God bless you all.
Salute.
Go, Habs. Go. That's what I say. And come on, we got 4 games here. We got to win them. We got to get 5 points, right?
Absolutely.
We've decided 5 points. Have a good day, everybody. Enjoy. We'll see you next week at noon on Habsolutely 4680Q Radio. Au revoir.